Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, one Kentucky driver learns how road conditions can change fast during a snowfall. And President Donald Trump plans to sign an executive order blocking state AI regulations.
And we've extended that first alert weather day up until Saturday.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. It's been a snowy start to the work week, and more snow and frigid temperatures could be on the way. Our first alert weather days are now expected to continue through the weekend. Meteorologist Megan Duswell has the latest on what to expect. Megan.
Thanks, Steve. We're still under that winter weather advisory for portions of our Virginia and West Virginia counties, but we have seen this system significantly die out over the past couple hours. There's the good news as we do finish off your Monday. Here's a look at satellite and radar. Lots of clouds across most of the region, but as you're traveling into West Virginia, that's where we're starting to see some of the last remaining portions of this snow still hanging on for the weather. Now, in terms of what we're seeing temperature-wise, the warmest temperatures of the day were actually around midnight. We've since seen those temperatures drop down to a mixture of the upper 20s and low 30s. Some mid-30s still hanging on for some of our more southernmost counties, but all we're going to continue to do are see those temperatures dropping through the next several hours. Unfortunately, no relief from these cold temperatures around 3 o'clock later tonight. That's when we'll see the coldest temperatures of the day, looking at the mid-20s. Some folks even dropping down to those low 20s, and eventually seeing those chances for snow clearing out in just a little bit. Steve.
All right, pull out the blankets. Megan, thank you. A driver learned the hard way today how quickly road conditions can change when it snows. First responders were called to a serious crash in Mercer County. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what happened and what could lie ahead.
Snow had been falling heavily on Highway 127 just south of Harrodsburg. Then a car ran off the road and overturned in a ditch.
These neighbors ran down to check on them. I think one across the street too. So yeah, they got woke up pretty early this morning.
Two people inside the SUV were able to get out. They were okay and not badly injured.
It could have been a lot worse, especially with the rollover if they weren't buckled in.
Road crews were out clearing the roads this morning. They were salting, they were plowing, but they say that this accident goes to show that despite their best efforts, bad things can still happen.
It was completely upside down.
And it comes with a lot more winter to come and possibly even more measurable snowfall in the coming days.
So we just ask people, you know, if you're going to be out and about today or have doctor's appointments, leave a little bit earlier. Just drive slow and take your time.
Snow was falling throughout the county, but this was the only one that had to bring out the first responders.
The road crew's been out, they had everything clear, and you know, just in a matter of 10 or 15 minutes, everything was covered again and they just re-iced everything.
Winter weather can be dangerous, and deputies say crashes like this should be a lesson to all. In Mercer County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
And looks like they definitely got a lot more snow there than we did here. Deputies say that SUV involved in the crash was totaled. Some folks in neighboring Virginia experienced snowfall as well. Might still be coming down in some of those counties. Here's video out of Rockingham County, which is where the city of Harrisonburg is. Officials say they expect snow and ice hazards to persist there into the evening. The National Weather Service says counties in that area could see between 1 and 4 inches of snow. In Madison County, a school bus was involved in a crash this morning. The school district says a car and a bus sideswiped each other. It happened just before 7:30. The sheriff's office says the bus then hit another car head on. 24 students were on board. A few of them were taken to the hospital to be checked out. The driver and passenger in one of the cars also went to the hospital. A separate bus took the remaining students to school. A northern Kentucky home was destroyed in a fire overnight. Fire crews in Kenton County responded to that massive fire at approximately 1:30 this morning. The fire department says it was an abandoned home. The home collapsed in the fire. Crews say no injuries were reported. The cause is still under investigation. In Washington, Congress is in a heated debate over whether to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies set to expire at the end of the month. During an event in Louisville today, Congressman James Comer said this late in the game, he expects lawmakers to extend them for at least a year.
I think we'll still see some legislation this week on the House floor that's going to create more alternatives to try to lower the cost of health care. But it's unfortunate that these conversations are happening now. They should have happened prior to the August recess.
Comer says he's always been critical of the Affordable Care Act, sometimes called Obamacare. He blames the program for destroying private health care in America. The Senate is expected to vote Thursday on a Democratic health care proposal. Evidence suppression hearings resumed today in the Luigi Manion case. The defense team for Manion is trying to have certain evidence withheld from his upcoming state trial, arguing the evidence was illegally obtained. So far, at least 7 witnesses have testified through 3 days of pretrial hearings. Court was postponed last Friday because Manion was sick. He was charged with murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson around this time last year. A blockbuster Supreme Court case calls into question our current campaign finance laws. Molly Martinez reports on a ruling that could have major implications on the upcoming primaries and politics as we know it.
The question at the center of this case is, do campaign contributions and political spending count as free speech? And should they be protected under the First Amendment?
Back in 2022, then Senator, now Vice President J.D. Vance filed a lawsuit to allow political parties to make unlimited contributions to candidate campaigns. That suit made it all the way to the Supreme Court, where justices will weigh in on Tuesday.
This case is about the First Amendment. It's about the right to free speech. And in particular, this case is about the right of free speech of political parties.
Senior Cato Institute legal fellow Dan Greenberg explains why contribution limits are, well, limiting.
You're really regulating the political process. More particularly, you're regulating the ads that political parties can buy.
Tara Malloy with the Campaign Legal Center believes guardrails are necessary.
Unlimited money equals corruption. If a single donor can give a large amount of money to a candidate, this is the equivalent of them purchasing influence and perhaps even a quid pro quo exchange of money for a vote or for a policy program.
Oral arguments in this case will be heard on Tuesday, with a decision expected by June. That decision will impact the 2026 midterms, which are already on track to see historic spending. At the Supreme Court, I'm Molly Martinez.
President Donald Trump plans to sign an executive order blocking state AI regulations. He posted on social media today, quote, "There must be only one rule book if we are going to continue to lead in AI." It comes as some states have passed laws to address potentially risky and harmful uses of AI. Critics worry the deregulation could allow AI companies to evade accountability should their tools harm consumers. Whooping cough, also called pertussis, is a bacterial illness that causes severe coughing spells that can last for weeks or even months. The disease can be life-threatening, and doctors are encouraging anyone that has not gotten a Tdap vaccine to schedule an appointment with their PCP. Whooping cough cases are going up in Kentucky. According to the state health department, there have been 566 cases across the Commonwealth. That's the highest number of cases since 2012. Last year, there were 543 total cases across the state. National Guardsman Andrew Wolf continues to recover in the hospital. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey says he has spoken with Wolf's family, saying, quote, his parents report that his head wound is slowly healing and that he's beginning to look more like himself. Overall, the family expects that Andy will be in acute care for another 2 to 3 weeks, but has been optimistic about his progress, end quote. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says Wolf was able to reach up and hug his father. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, an earthquake shakes cars and more in one Asian country.
And I'll break down that timeline for those first alert weather days.